And welcome back to Troll Time. I'm your host, Ivan D. Curtis, aka the Troll King. And this is the show where we talk sports, movies, and anything thought provoking. Today, of course, we'll be recapping the WNBA Draft. And as you know, I don't do this show alone. Willy and Boredy, how y'all doing today?
I'm hot. I have some sinus weirdness going on. And I got some opinions on the draft, so why not? I got some hot takes. Come on now. Hot takes while hot.
I got you. Hey, Willy, what's going on down there in Texas, man?
Hey, I'm just getting back here. It's good to be here to talk about the draft.
All right, just hopping right into it. Of course, it was no surprise. Drafted number one overall, Paige Beckers to the Dallas Wings. Like I said, no surprise there. I had made a post saying that, could it be any type of argument for Dominique Malonga to go first, considering her ceiling and everything like that. But, of course, even with it being no surprise, it was a great pick for the Dallas Wings and what they have, coming into this season. Of course, their roster is revamped. And, Boredy, I'm going to lead this off with you and just give me your thoughts on Paige Beckers fitting in with the Dallas Wings in this upcoming season.
It's great for the Dallas Wings when it comes to like perimeter play. To have somebody who is a good passer, which is great. I know Arike improved on her passing ability last year under LT and really committed to being a better defender in the steals department. But you needed somebody who was a little bit more prone to passing, and having someone like Paige who not only can light it up herself, but she's a very unselfish player and loves to set up her team. It's great, along with Arike and her improved abilities, and also Dejanay Carrington too. They have something going right there for the perimeter where there's plenty of great defense with them. In terms of down low defense, that's another question where they'll have to improve on. But at least for the most part, you have the scoring and you have something building in Dallas, which is good because they needed a little bit of a makeover after the Greg Bibb days. You feel a little bit more faith with the way that Kurt Miller drafted, and we'll get to the other draft picks too because there's a couple players who I'm interested to see if they make the roster, what this team will look like in the future, pending if Arike decides to move.
I got you. Hey, Willy, your thoughts on Paige fitting in with the Dallas Wings?
I think it's a great pick, and again, that doesn't take away from anybody in the draft. But if you're Dallas, you have to take her. And could you imagine with everything that's going on with the Mavericks if the Wings passed on Paige? Like it would be anarchy in the basketball world in Dallas. Already anarchy, right? But it would literally be martial law in here. Anybody could come and be the GM. Like we could just go and stake claim because they would fire everybody in this city. Jerry Jones, fire everybody.
Are we gonna have a basketball January 6th or something like that? Like what?
That's exactly what it'd be. Insurrection all over again.
Now, just to give everybody an idea, of course, they had the additions of Nalissa Smith, Maisha Hines-Allen, Dejanay Carrington. Three of the main pieces that came in. Ty Harris. I feel like this team is built pretty good. I mean, you got Maddie Seekers coming back. She should be 100% to start the season off. Arike. I mean, you can't. They probably couldn't put together more help than what they have, and just so we don't even have to get all the way to number 12. Of course, they drafted Isaiah James again in the first round, and I feel like it's going to be a fight for these roster spots. That's something that's been a hot topic in the WNBA. Roster expansion greater than team expansion. I think that should have been the argument first. Well, not argument, but that should have been the topic at hand, is to increase these roster sizes because unlike the NBA, players get drafted, they pretty much almost guaranteed to be on the roster, which is in WNBA. Like sometimes you get past that first round, and even then it's stiff. But you get past the first round, the second and third, it's survival. It's a highlight moment for a short second, and then you got to get ready to try and fight and make the roster. But This is a pretty solid team, and of course, you know, when you look at the names, but they're going to have a lot of players come in, obviously, for training camps. You got McCowan. It's going to be good for them on the inside. It's going to be real interesting to see how this team plays. I just want to get your thoughts about them drafting Isaiah James at number 12. Hey, Willie.
I think it's going to be a fight in terms of in that guard position because what Isaiah James does. But the good thing about her, and she talked about her time at North Carolina State, um, her socialization into becoming a major star, leading, being one of the leaders to help take a team to the Final Four. She talked about her first couple of years sitting on the bench, and I feel like that's going to help her. And who would say sitting on the bench would help someone? But I'm just saying, when you're in that position, oftentimes, again, we talked about this before, where people sometimes they've been playing lead dog, elite roles for their entire, not just college, all the way back in the youth, high school, youth basketball, always being the lead dog. And then when you get to the league, now you got to figure out, okay, if I can't be the league dog, how do I get on the floor? The fact that she already has some experience with that, it won't break her. She's going to come in with a level of confidence. And even if initially she's coming off the bench and she's got to earn her keep, so to speak, it won't break her because one of the sayings I like to use is you had to have been there before you get there. So she's been there before, knows what that feels like, and she has that texture to grab on if she gets to a point where maybe she's not getting the minutes that she feels like she should get initially. She knows what to do. She has something to grab on. I think she'll be all right.
No, I agree. I agree. You know, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see who makes the final roster. I think they automatically, with the additions that they had, they in contention to do some great things this season. Number 2 pick, Dominique Malaga, out of France. She's been a pro, which is, you know, an interesting thing, as a lot of the foreign players that typically get drafted in the WNBA. But this has been highly anticipated. You know, we've seen a numerous amount of videos of her dunking the ball with ease. Her skill development is off the charts. She knocks down the three, rim protector, but has quick feet. The guard on the pick and roll switches out top. I think to go along with what Seattle already has is they can, man, that front court is going to be it could be hell, man. And Boredy, break this down. Malonga in Seattle, what does that look like?
Well, I don't always wear my teams on my sleeve, mainly because a lot of my teams that I root for suck. But the Seattle Storm isn't one of them. Gosh darn it! A history
Love
of
is pain, boards. Love is pain.
love is pain, love is pain, and for all of my other teams, it's a whole bunch of pain. But this one is love and actual happiness, especially to get somebody with Dom. I said a couple months ago, like I feel like the LA is going to regret trading this pick because, you know, shout out to KP, the chance of getting Dominique Malongo or if Olivia Miles declared would have been great for whatever team was going to be that 2 spot. And I feel like somebody like Seattle, we're in a weird phase where we're kind of rebuilding, but we still have a whole bunch of vets on the team as well. And so having somebody like Dominique, she could absolutely end up being the best player in this draft class. Her fluidity, the fact that she can dunk really easily, the fact that she can step outside at the 3-point line, she can rebound as well. She can be like the perfect model of a modern player if everything works out. And for her to go to a team like Seattle, it's the best case scenario because we have talked a little bit about the fact that LA, in terms of development, there's a lot of things going on there versus Seattle. We know that they have a history of fostering somebody, helping them grow and move along, and a commitment to them as a player. I think it's a perfect situation for Dominique and also a great situation for the Storm as well. You have some vets like NECA, you have vets like Ezzy. Good luck scoring on us in a couple years because Ezzy and Dom blocking shots and rebounding everything. Oh man, only the sky can keep up, and who knows if they can keep up because we can also Dominique can also step on the outside, unlike those players in Chicago. So I'm very happy about what we've seen also getting Serena Sundell too, which we desperately needed shooting. But like to have a big that can also shoot as well, it's like everything of Seattle's needs: rebounding, having a future player to grow into, and then a future franchise player, and also having a 3-point shot. Like it's a dream come true if you're a Seattle fan. So hopefully everything goes perfectly because the Storm, they can look great in a couple years and be right back in contention.
No,
What did Rakia say about Dom?
Lord, please don't let me be the first WNBA player to be dunked on. Please don't, Lord. And you know,
Rakia, by the way, you won draft night along with Kiki, so.
Oh yes, no, absolutely. It was just like, oh my gosh, like Kiki. First of all, the best fit in the history of the draft class. Period. I've never seen anybody look better. Period. But Rakia, I would have thought you were being drafted the way you were doing, girl.
yeah, we're gonna get into that after we get past this first round because they definitely. I mean, it's always nice to see the women out of their element of what we used to seeing on the court versus off the court. Everybody was pretty nice, but hey Willie, your thoughts on Dominique in Seattle?
Boris said a lot when she talked about player development. Y'all know that we love scouting here. We love to see player development. We talk about it a lot. When you look at in particular, I'm going to say this: it is not the easiest thing to develop bigs because they don't touch the ball on every possession. When you're a guard or you're a wing person and you touch the ball on every possession, as difficult as it can be from transitioning from whatever league you're in, whether it's international or college, and getting to the W, that transition is not as steep when you have constant reps on the ball. So you can have your mistakes, people live through your mistakes, you grow faster when you're on the ball. Bigs are so dependent on getting the ball. They're so dependent on the people around them. And it's not the easiest thing to develop it. And if you want to know, as much as Dominic Malonga is already a great player and great prospect, if you want to look at development, look no further than Ezzy McGregor and what's happened in Seattle in terms of developing bigs in particular. So again, we talked about it before when we were previewing the draft. Like you said, OG, like you said, Boards, good luck getting shots in the paint. Good luck rebounding. Here's the other thing with them too, both with a lot of times when people go with bigs, I know Chicago tried to go with this, but literally because both of those bigs are skilled and both of those bigs are athletic and both of those bigs are smart. I watched a lot of tape on Dom leading up to look at her basketball instincts because the ability is one thing, the basketball instincts are another. Her and Ezzy, it makes them interchangeable, right? Like it's not like one has to go to the block and one has to play in the high post. They're literally interchangeable. Whoever gets down the floor first, that's where you go, that's where you go. And that is hard for opposing teams to really, really deal with. So I'm excited to see this. I can't wait.
No, I agree, and I think the benefit, like Ezzy, she's not a long ball shooter, but she's a good mid range shooter. So you still got interchangeable fours and fives, and that's the thing that we used to always talk about. You talking about whoever gets down the floor first. In old school numbered transition break, you got an extreme advantage when your 4 and 5 can interchange, that should. I mean, the backcourt play for them is just no different than last season. That's what's going to be pivotal for them. I think for the most part, the front court they showed up, and then obviously when they get great backcourt play, that makes them a tougher out. But it's going to be interesting to see what they get from the backcourt and wings. I like Jordan Horston on that team. She's one of my faves. Nice two-way player. I'm looking for her to have a big breakout season, and it definitely helps when you get size like that. And they're going to be huge too, man, because even Jordan, I think Jordan Horston is like 6'1" or 6'2", somewhere in that range. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't think she's playing her or Nika this year because of the injuries they sustained
Oh yeah.
internationally. So yeah.
But just the thought of that, like the
In a few,
size, yeah, the size is
yes.
like it's great. Now
I call Jordan Horson the SEC wide receiver all the time, bro. Cause like her jump, her radius, her jump, her catching ability, like her instincts defensively. Come on, man, rebounding,
Y'all
she's
killing
great.
me. Y'all killing me because y'all digging the knife in again. Another form of spark. Y'all
Oh
killing
yeah,
me.
that's
Cut
true.
it out.
Now this is
Y'all
the
cut it
thing
out.
at 3 and 4, the Washington Mystics selected Sonya Citron third and Kiki Ariafa fourth. I like this I like this combination. Kind of now I'm not even gonna lie. It kind of caught me off guard with Citron going first, going before Kiki, but nevertheless they both are there. But I like this combination. You got two players that play defense. You got two players that can score the ball. Like I mean, I felt like Washington. This is a they offloaded everything, but this was a good reason to offload when you can get talent at this caliber in the draft. And I think they nailed it in the first round with what the picks that they had. I thought they did a great job. And you can throw. I don't want to skip past the Valkyries, but Georgia Amore is in that group as well. And so basically, you getting quality wings, and you getting a great point guard in Georgia Amore. I feel like she's going to be better in the pros than she was in college because I think the way her game is suited, the more players that she has on the court with her, the more effective she can be. And so I like that for her. But your thoughts, Bordy, on matter of fact, we can cover the ground on all three of them with Citron, Kiki, and Georgia Amore for the Mystics.
The Mystics, for me, the question about the Mystics, like, okay, I love the Citron pick, period, right? They really needed somebody in that wing spot and trading away Carly Samuelson. Like, they needed somebody to shoot on the perimeter. I don't think that they have a lot of wings. The thing that is weary for me, right? And Georgia Amore, I love her being paired with a lot of forwards, but that's the problem. There are a lot of forwards on that team, right? Emily Angsler, Shakira Austin. Last year they just drafted Aaliyah Edwards, and now they're getting Kiki Iriafen too. The Kiki Aaliyah thing, it feels like we're double dipping in terms of talent, and unless you have a goal plan to maybe move Aaliyah to the three, I'm not. I'm interested on where the Mystics go because if the Seattle did this or a team like the Lynx did this, I would have faith in what direction that they're going in. But there are a lot of questions about the Mystics after the 2019 season as to how well they're managed. And I love Georgia Amore as a player. I said for years that a lot of people are sleeping on her potential. Her being paired with Biggs is great. Their direction kind of is curious, and development is also curious as well. How good is that organization? How committed are they to making sure that all their pieces work together? And with all their forwards there, they still have Shakira Austin and they still have Brittany Sykes. And it sounded like they wanted to potentially trade them away, but they're keeping them. I'm not sure what they're planning on doing. And having that two situation, like I said, Aaliyah and Kiki, I'm not sure if you do trade away Shakira, then you're really undersized. So you're probably going to want to keep Shakira. I, I'm confused. I'm a little bit confused on what direction they're going to. They needed a lot of guards. So having Sonia and having somebody like Georgia, good. The Kiki situation, question mark. I'm interested to see what direction they go in forward with that team because there are a lot of questions in the next 2 years for their management and what they want their future team outlook to be like, and I'm not sure what that vision is right now, which worries me, especially because I love all three of those players.
No, I agree. I think I thought the way it was trending in the offseason that Slim and Shakira was out of there.
Me
Like
too.
that. So now to see them still on the roster with some of the talent they accrue. Now, if they can keep this all together, I mean, I love the team. I mean, I'm a big Shakira Austin fan. When she's healthy, she's one of the best. You know, I don't want to pigeonhole her and call her one of the best bigs because I think she has more in her toolbox than what we get to see on a regular basis. But I think she's one of the best center/forwards in the league. Averaged 11, almost 12 points and 7 rebounds last season. That way, and she was out a significant amount of time. But yeah, I'm still puzzled. I like the Sika Cone pick up during the middle of the season. She played phenomenal when she had time. Now the other thing is the backcourt situation. I like Jade Melbourne, but I think Amore is going. Man, she realistically got a shot to start at point, and I don't know. I think she has a savviness about her that I think she's going to play well beyond her rookie year. Like
Dog.
yeah. So, but you know, Emily Angster, Stephanie Dolson, like I'm thinking, man, this a pretty solid roster. Your take, Willy?
I think with Kiki, a lot of times when we look at these teams too, is it's hard to go to know what's really going on behind the scenes, and I think sometimes and I understand it. I ain't mad at anybody when I say this, not you boys. I'm talking about just the fandom in general. When people go crazy about why did they pick this player or why did they pick that player, I think sometimes fantasy sports and video games influences the way people think, right? Because people will look at certain players and they'll say, man, you could have traded down and got so-and-so. And it's not that easy, right?
Not easy at all.
You literally have to have a willing partner or partners depending on your cap situation, right? So a lot of times when you look at a player, say a Kiki Iriafen is on the board, you can see clearly Washington's goal was we are taking the best player available.
PPA, yeah.
Right.
And and some people draft for need, some people draft for the best player available, and it depends on where you are in that situation, right? Like if you if you have your board and you got this is the best player available, but then we have somebody for need and they're close, you take that need. But if you have best player available and your need and the need player that you need is far, far down, and there's a big gap between best available and your need, you got to take the best available and figure it out. And I think when you look at what was going on with Washington, remember, yeah, they had some injuries, but they closed the year strong. Before that, they looked like they were going to get the number 1 pick in the draft. So this was clearly a talent grab, and we're going to take the best player. Now, could they have entertained some potential offers to move off that pick to get something, to move down to get something that they needed? They could have, but when teams, the other thing is, this too, OG, when teams know that you're trying to do something, they'll ask you for everything.
Oh yeah.
To get you to do things, right? They'll ask you for everything if they know that you're trying. So it's not as easy to move up and down the board as people think it is, right? And so you really have to. So they stay true to their board, which I like. You take the best player and let it play out. And I agree exactly with what you're saying, boys. Like the fit is not ideal where whoever's going to get Kiki's just going to get a whole bunch of run immediately because there are other young bigs. But at the same time, I know that they have to take Citron fit, Amore fit, and then you take Kiki best available player. And so I'm interested to see what happens with them, like exactly what you all said, provided that there's help. And the other thing too is, yes, you got to take players that fit in your timeline, right? In terms of when you're putting a team together. But you also can't run out there with a bunch of babies either. In a league, this ain't, with all
the fever
respect,
last year.
Right, yes. You can't run out there with a whole bunch of babies because you're going to get buffaloed, right? So they do have to have a certain level of vet that not only is a mentor, but that vet got to be able to play too. Right? So, because if you really want to get the attention of a young player, if you have vets out there that don't play, you ain't getting the attention of a young player. Right? If you're trying to hold them accountable and they got vets behind them that can't push them, yeah, you're not getting through to them. They like, yeah, you going to put them in the game? Okay. But when you have vets that can actually play when you're going with your young players and you trying to get through to them, you got vets that teach them the way, but can actually say, look, you'll do what you're supposed to do. We can put this player in the game. I think that is the most effective way to teach young players. So I agree with you, boys. Like you said, the fit with Kiki in particular is, I'm not worried about Sonya in Georgia because the runway is there for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the fit is a little bit peculiar for Kiki, but I also understand. I know you all said that, yeah, Shakira and B Sykes may be out. The other thing is there's been a change of regime too. That coach might be like, hey, no, 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 bro.
Yeah, I think that I know. I think you're right, hey Willie. I think that's already happened because we almost for certain. I remember us talking about it. We thought they was out the window, like when they started making moves. But you're right, hey Willie. I think that he already stepped in because obviously, of course, I know from being in the industry, like it's a lot of things that go on behind closed doors or in the thick of things that we in the public will never know. But when you think about offloading talent like that, it is questionable because, like I say, Brittany Sykes healthy is a bucket, and she's and that's what I was about to say, and she defend, and then Shakira, she give you everything you want when she's healthy. So I'm glad. I'm glad. I want all 12 teams to be competitive. Like I want it to be a shock when certain teams don't make the playoff. So, and I like the fact that these players who got drafted for the Met, they got a shot to play. Like,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to be productive. It's one thing to just get time and be in a position to play, but are you going to be productive? And I like it. Fifth pick for the Golden State Valkyries. Everybody, I think, was on, like we was all in limbo. I wasn't surprised they went with a foreign player in Yositi. I'll be trying not to butcher these names.
Pronunciation
Yeah,
is
but
interesting with her. I've heard like 8 pronunciations.
Hey,
of her.
but that's from Google itself. So hey, blame it on Google if I said it wrong. But from the highlights, because of course she's from Lithuania, we haven't seen a ton from her. But the highlights, man, she can go. Quick release, nice size. I honestly think 6'1" forward. See, this is the thing about the expansion in Golden State. We don't even know how they're gonna play. Like we know what she said how they want to play, but it's gonna be interesting to see all these new pieces playing together for the first time, and what that looks like. But I like the pick, and like I said, I didn't know which route they were gonna go, but if she wants to get up and down and tempo and things of that nature, it's a good start. And like I say, most of the time with the pros that get drafted into the WNBA, you kind of know what you're getting. They've been doing it for a while at the pro level, so not a bad pick. Like I said, I just didn't know which direction they were going to go. Them being an expansion team, and then also having a collective group of talent that has never really played together in the WNBA. So real quick, y'all thoughts on the Golden State Valkyries pick?
Interesting. I wonder if Kiki Ito-Yefenwa were available, they probably would have gone in her direction just because they do need a big, I feel like, a certified big. And if they didn't have that, that their mentality, they said that they were very looking into international players, looking for shooters. And what I liked most about Yostis was like, her ability to play through physical contact is something that I saw a lot when I was looking at her tape. And that's something that you're going to need to jump into the next level that really affects rookies, but having that international experience, right? You're already used to playing physically. You're already used to defenders bumping into you. And if you're distributing the ball, you're going to need somebody who's a great distributor. I don't get the Luka comparison. She's not that great of a passer in terms of the Luka comparisons, but she's a very good passer, right? So like she does play with great pace too, and so this is very good because I know they're going to be a high tempo team, and then you pair her with somebody like Cheyenne Sellers who also plays at her own pace too. Like I know that they're going to be up and down, high tempo, or it looks like that for me when I see their roster. There's a lot of shooters, a lot of high tempo players that like to go up and down the court. So I'm seeing that as a great direction, but you have somebody who's calm, who, if you're in half court situations, can play physically and pass the ball as well, shoot the ball, and also it's a well rounded player. I am interested to see, though, in general, with this roster in particular, how many players actually come over to the States their first year.
Right.
That's a big question for the Valkyries. So, but in terms of the pick itself, I like it.
Right. Yeah, that is a question mark. I mean, I hope. I hope we don't get any hold-ups, but I mean, hey, it's happened before. I mean, it's something that's not uncommon in the WA. Willie, real quick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. You know, the thing that when you are putting your team together, you're trying to figure out what you have. When you don't have the opportunity to get that heliocentric start, like, you know, for them, this is, you know, so for people to know as an expansion team, like they weren't in the lottery. The fifth pick is where they were going to land no matter what. So they don't have a chance to get a Page or a Dominique. They don't have a chance to do that. So and one of the things that their GM said was they're not going to force immediately finding the face of the franchise, which is absolutely right. Now, if one of these players develops into that, then great. But they weren't in a position where we have a once in a generation surefire. This, barring any type of injuries, this player will not fail. They're going to be great. But so when you are in that situation, what you want to do is get basketball players that are interchangeable, that are multi-skilled, that can play different ways. And that's the way that you put pressure on opposing teams. When you don't have an elite star, we really got to do this by committee. And so her skills fit with that, being able to bring the ball up and make a decision, being able to play off the ball and someone else makes a decision. I can get open and be a threat that way. I don't need to always have the ball in my hands, and the only way I can get something done is by me creating it. So I feel like that fits what Golden State is trying to do. They are literally focusing on multifaceted players that can play multiple positions, high energy players and high IQ players. That's what they're focusing on their draft. Seems like that's what they got in expansion, and that's what they were focusing on in their draft, in my opinion.
The Golden State model, right? They're playing just like, you know, they're opposite, you know?
Nah, not a bad call out. I can't wait to see it. I mean, anytime you have an organization, for example, like the Aces, who are very successful, anybody knows that any team, the assistant coaches and everybody underneath the head coaches are the big driving forces of the success. You know, like we used to always say, the head coach is going to get all the notoriety, but they also going to get all the blame too. But so that, I mean, that's just common practice. That's just the way it goes. But to see these coaches now in the roles that they have coming from the Aces, you know, like, as well as Tyler March, and we're going to mention that here coming up with the draft picks that they had. But it's going to be interesting to see what, you know, how they teams come together, how they can basically have their imprint on the league as lead coaches in the WNBA. So I'm kind of excited about that. I like what you said, Bordy, because if Kiki was available, then, you know, you go to the hometown, kind of to a degree, you know, from the West Coast, that would have been huge for them. You know, still would have garnered a lot of that USC attraction and different things like that. But yeah, moving along, another back-to-back pick situation. Of course, you had the Connecticut Sun. They had 7 and 8 picks to their crew from the Mercury and the Fever. At 7, they took Anissa Morrow, and 8, Sanaya Rivers. And I truly love this situation for them because I think it's another situation where they get to walk in and play. Like, I mean, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to go to a team that if they do make the roster that they sitting. I think Anissa Morrow is she built to play off rip. Like somebody had asked me, how did I think she was going to fare in the W? I said, for one, anybody who averages a double-double their entire career in college, that lets you know they already play at a high level far as motor, night in and night out. And when you play like that, I think you can be productive in any league. Not to mention, she's been undersized. That's the label that they like to say. But I like her in the pros because now you got a guard her on the perimeter. She's not going to just be straight everything in the paint. It's not going to be relying just on offensive rebounds. She can shoot the ball. She showed that even before in her junior year when she came over to LSU. I was always upset that we never got to see a lot of high-low action with her and Angel playing together, which I felt like would have been deadly because Morrow is money at the mid-range. So, and that's not even mentioning the array of moves that she does has around the basket. I just think it's just going to open up a lot of her game because she's already ready to play. Averaged 20 points and 12 rebounds her senior year. But like I said, it wasn't the ideal place that I would say, like if I was saying like I wanted to go to a team, I wouldn't say Connecticut. But looking at the situation, I'm excited about. I'm not unlike everybody else. I seen people like, oh, Chicago, man, like no, like you don't. Some situations we don't need a do over, like literally we don't. And then some we invite, but that one I'm kind of cool. She get to branch out and basically looking at their roster. Before I pass the ball to you guys, like notables. Like I said, you got Diamond DeShields. Marina Mabry, we'll see what's gonna happen with that.
But Sanaya and Anissa got Marina Mabry dancing again.
Yeah.
She got her groove back.
Yeah,
She got her groove back.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you got Tina Charles, who I think is going to be great for Morrow. And no matter how you put it, I mean, she gets to practice, compete, and play with a legend in the game who's still being productive, in her later years in the W. She's a 13-year WNBA vet. And, she plays. She's been playing at a high level. So I think the names don't jump out at you, but now also, they've had a change in everything over there. You got Rashid Mezzine, the new head coach. You gotta instantly think the European style of play is going to be something that's going to be heavy, and that's why I like Morrow in a style offense like that, where everything is not going to be force feed to the paint or anything like that. I can foresee a lot of motion, a lot of open court stuff, and mismatch and ISOs and different things like that. So, and like I said, she can't shoot the ball, but there's no reason I think that Morrow is a starter day one. You guys thoughts on the picks? Morrow and Sanaya Rivers going to Connecticut. Hey, Willie, I'll let you start this one off.
Hey man, shout out Morgan Tuck, man. I want Morgan Tuck to really do well as the GM. And we got the Chicago connection.
True.
Anissa Morrow and Morgan Tuck being from Chicago.
Right.
So I really want that to really, really go well for them in the new direction that Connecticut is taking. I agree with everything that you all said. When you look at Anissa Morrow as a rebounder, and it's one of the things that's really impressive. You don't realize this unless you see her. Like when I saw her and Sanaya dancing with Marina, I looked at Anissa's arms. Anissa's arms are so long.
Wingspan. That's what makes her play taller than she is.
She plays some, and the fact that, to your point, boys, the other thing too, like when we talk about rebounding, and let's peel the onion on rebounding a little bit, right? It's one thing to, no disrespect, you have to have a certain level of want to get rebounds in your area, right? The crazy thing about Anissa, the crazy thing about Angel that makes them great rebounders are their instincts. They get so many rebounds that are out of their area that you would think that they're not going to get, because they get to the ball faster than anybody. That's anticipation. That's want to. When you have anticipation and you have want to, you can play anywhere. You can play anywhere. And so, and we, like you said, when you couple that with the fact that the other thing when Anissa is in the paint that you can't teach, in addition to that want to and that anticipation, when she gets the ball in the paint, she understands angles. And I don't care how much skill development you got. There are certain players that just understand angles and understand how to get the ball off against bigger players that you just can't teach. I don't care how much you take the shot stick or the elite defender, you put it up and you got to learn teaching them how to shoot over length. Some people just understand. They understand leverage, establishing contact and bouncing off of people, and they understand angles. And Nisa Morrow has all of that. And you all know, like when we talked in the last, before the draft, Sanaya Rivers was one of the players that I was really, really looking forward to seeing because of her potential. And, you know, I know Bill Parcells says potential means you haven't done it yet. And I told you all when you're in the working in the team capacity, potential can get you fired. But at the same time, the things that Sanaya Rivers learned in terms of being humble when she transferred, being broken and having to build herself back up, I think she has a chance to be greater later. I'm real excited to see what she does. And last thing, hashtag fight on. It's a day to be a Trojan. Rhea Marshall, do your thing. Jazzy Davidson, #1 player in the country. What up, Paragon? Welcome to LA. We doing this thing. Great day to be a Trojan.
Yes, propaganda.
Hey, when you get excited, just make sure you lean forward so you don't get out the frame.
Okay, hey, don't have me here making love to the camera. Shout out Derwin Warren.
Right. Hey, Derwin be looking trapped. Hey,
that's our brother, y'all. Shout out to him. That's our guy.
Yeah, but no, I like so Rivers is another one who I think of course her best basketball is ahead of her. Like you know, started out at South Carolina, transferred to NC State, and I started to fly. You know, kind of opened up her wings and started to take off. And I think in the midst of everything, when we talk about the portal, she's the perfect example of who I like to use. Because I honestly, if she at South Carolina, she not getting drafted.
She said herself she didn't even want to be in the WNBA.
Yeah.
She was at South Carolina. Like her moving to NC State and going to the Final Four changed her mind.
Right. And basically, like I said, you can be in a successful place, program that's winning championships, all of that. But it doesn't mean it's for the best interest of your future. Like that's only your now. I know plenty of guys and plenty of people who played, and then they look back on their career later. You might have accrued a lot of team success with championships and winning. But if you had a chance to do it over and do something for the betterment of yourself, what would you choose? And I think for the long haul, you have to do what's best for you, because people gonna forget those championships if you wasn't the best player. If you wasn't the best 2 or 3 players, people gonna have to Google to remember you was on the roster. So I think for her, that championship that she does have, it's still a championship. But now, she made a move that put her in a situation where people can really see what she wanted to do, what she can do on the court. And I think a lot of times, all these people wait your turn and trust the process, and man, fuck all that. Like, no, like that doesn't. It's no guarantee, because you know what happens in the cycle of college basketball. The next recruits is coming in. The next recruits is coming in. The next portal class is coming in. They're waiting your turn. It ain't the same like it was in the earlier, in the 90s and possibly the early 2000s. But like now, you got to make the move that suits you. And I'm kind of glad she did it. I mean, I think she's a high level utility player that could develop into something special. Because she can defend. She rebounds. She passes the ball well. She can score the ball. She can handle it. Like I think she does everything well enough to be a great piece for the Suns. So I'm excited about that. Go ahead, Bordy.
Yeah, because you guys already like hit all the marks with Anissa. One thing also too with Anissa and Rhea Marshall too. Rhea Marshall, this is probably her best chance, like of everybody, like of making a roster, because that roster, unfortunately, Connecticut's a hood. They ain't got nobody right now, right? So you need obviously because this is such a compact league, there aren't a lot of opportunities. Going to this team gives you an opportunity to shine. So having somebody like TC, who we know, like Angel Reese herself said that TC helped her out so much, and just being patient and learning how to score in the W a little bit more effectively. After her advice, playing the dream, I think Angel had that almost rookie of the month stint for that month. So like shout out to Rhea being in that position. I'm very interested to see how Sanaya ends up being and leading in this role, right? Because Connecticut doesn't have a lot of players. She's going to have a lot of significant playing time. And one thing about Sanaya, right? Earlier in the season, she rested on her laurels. She wasn't really that aggressive. And I think that's a constant reminder that she needs to remember how good of a player, how much of that girl she has, because everybody talks about, her ability to score. And I think she can be an inside, outside scorer. Like, that's great. Her passing ability is something that is developed phenomenally. Like her ability to like play in the pick and roll and to play with some of these bigs that you have here, like there's a lot of potential for her to grow as a passer, a leading guard, and to be somebody who can play wing skills but then can also handle the ball and be a primary ball handler. Like her potential is great. So for her to be in the team that doesn't have necessarily a lot of scores, she's going to be forced in that position to where in order for this team to have success, she's going to have to take over. And you have somebody, Anissa, who is there, another dog to remind you just how good you are. But I feel like she can have a little bit of relationship like she had with Isaiah, where it's like, we know that we are the two pillars of this organization. In order for us to have success, not only does Anissa have to thrive, I have to thrive too. And that's a great position for her to be in, because you don't want another replay of what she is in the South Carolina days. And shout out to all the players who were in South Carolina, to the UConns. UCLA is a little bit like this. USC was kind of looking like this before a little bit of transfer portal madness. But sometimes when you are a player that has a whole bunch of players who are also good around you, you can shrink inside of yourself and only do your best quality, but there's so much more for your game that you have in you, and you need to let it shine, and you need to play on the court to let it shine too. And so Sanaya isn't going back to where she's on the bench and just sitting. She's like living out and testing out all the things that she did in the last 2 years, and I think that'll be great for her development as well. I'm not sure the style in which this coach is. I know Belgium, he was the head coach for Belgium during the Olympics. They like threes, they like pace, they like inside outside game, etc. So I expect a little bit of that. But I like the fact that Sanaya, she's going to have to step into her role and step into herself, and that's good for her so that she doesn't shrink back. She lives in herself, because I feel like she's so much more talented than she can sometimes realize, which can happen sometimes when you're in a crowded team. So the fact that she was able to step out that in NC State and now stepping out of that into the pros, is not going back into that role, I think that's going to be fantastic for her in the future.
No, I agree. Moving along, we almost got the first round wrapped up. At number 9, the Sparks, Sarah Ashley Barker from Alabama. I like the pick. I didn't know which way they were going to go, but I know they needed some shooting. And that definitely doesn't hurt. I think with what they have with the Sparks, what they have coming back, they too are another team where the front court is heavy, and I like it. When you start talking about Hamby, Stevens, Cameron Brink, it's a nice blend of a young core with veteran players. That's productive. I think I mentioned before, I'm looking for a breakout season from Stevens to carry over from unrivaled. Where I think she played really well, but in the backcourt to them are still to me is where the mystery is going to fall in, and like the consistency. That's what I'm talking about. Like the consistency of what they're going to get from Odyssey Sims, Kelsey Plum. What's that going to look like? Two left-handers in the backcourt, might I add, too. That could be some problems. But yeah, I like them adding shooting though. I really like that big guard that can shoot the ball. I mean, had that lights out game. I think she's been a steady player, of course, at Alabama, but that 45-point game definitely didn't hurt her stock coming into the draft. Just real quick on Sparks picking up Sarah Ashley Barker. Hey, Willie.
I think it's a good pick.
That's your team.
It is my point. To your point, I do think that shooting, especially, it was something that they needed. But one of the things that I like too is we've talked about how impactful and important the wing position is becoming in the WNBA. So if you don't have a great one, it's good to have a lot of good ones. So they're building players with size that can shoot the rock, right? Of course, like Rakia can play wherever she wants to play, as far as I'm concerned. That's another story for another day. But having her, you talked about unrivaled as well. Another player that really fared well for themselves is Ray Burrell and unrivaled. Another wing, kind of, you can put her at the two, you can put her at the three, play a bunch of positions, can create all those things. She played well. Now you add Sarah to that. I think it's a really, really, I think it's a good thing for LA. Again, having that shooting is something that you can never have enough, but really having multiple wings that can do multiple things that can be put in different places, I think is really important. Sarah Ashley Barker is actually tough too. So
Yes.
she's very, very tough, right? And that's one of the things too that I really like about her. Just the fact that she's really tough. Doesn't People always say, yeah, you don't shy away from physical contact. That's one thing. Even though people call her a shooter, when she puts the ball on the ground, she's making contact with people.
Right.
That's the thing. So it's one thing to play through contact. It's another thing to be, like Pac said, we gonna bomb first. Forget taking your first blow. She bombs first. That's one of the things when I watch tape on her a lot. Shout out to Instat and Huddle. I watch a lot of that. So when I watch tape on her, that's one of the things that really stood out to me as well. In addition to the shooting ability, y'all know this. I'll say this like, no, I'll say that. I know we're gonna move on to the other rounds. I'm not gonna say anything about that. So, but no, I'm really, I like the pick. I think she provides shooting. I think she provides toughness as well and versatility from the perimeter. And she's a good decision maker with the ball in her hands also.
Right, I agree. Your thoughts, real quick, Bordy.
This was like in addition to the Kiki pick, that was when I realized that this draft is BPA decisions. Like I feel like most of the decisions made for this draft were like BPA, because one thing that LA needed, they needed defense and they needed passing. They're one of the lowest passing teams last year. And shout out to the 3-point ability. Like they were still good last year with the 3-point shots. Like it was mainly defense where they just could not defend enough. And of course, you get Cam bring back a little bit later into the season. You have your interior players, like you have the Air Camby, who's really good defensively as well. Azare can play defensively pretty well as well. I thought for sure that, well, not for sure, but I thought that they would lean more into the Cheyenne Sellers role because they missed out on Paige, because they missed out on Olivia Miles, that you would go ahead and go with a point guard. But in terms of the better player, it is Sarah Ashley Barker. In addition to all the things A. Willie said, she has a great nose for the ball too. Like her rebounding ability is very slept on. Like she's a dog when it comes to, like, I will find a way to get the ball and I'll find a way to distribute the ball, and like she knows her spots. She plays well in space. She allows things to happen. So I feel like she is a good player in that regard. Passing is still a very big concern for LA. You do at least have Odyssey Sims, and for the love of God, and WNBA. Please keep her on the roster past training camp. I don't know why we play what Odyssey sends his name every year. She's on a training camp roster, and then she doesn't make it, but halfway through the season, she gets on the roster, and then she ends up putting up 20 and 10 assists, and then we're like, oh, why didn't we have this on the team earlier? I don't know what's going on with that. But if Odyssey and, Ari, maybe KP can find a way to be more of a point, things can be good. But I am still worried about their passing ability. At least we know they'll be able to shoot. And Sarah Ashley Barker is a way better defender than she gets credit for. So, that's a good thing for the Sparks as well.
No, I'm with you, and it's crazy when I was looking at it because you look at they're two veteran players. The most veterans players on the Sparks is Odyssey Sims and Derrica Hamby, who both had career seasons last season. Derrica Hamby was 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and then Odyssey Sims, she 17 points and almost 6 assists. And I'm with you though to a large degree, Boredy, just about the backcourt. Like I said, because front court. Hey Willie, I'm glad you mentioned Ray Burrell because we always talk about it. That's one of our faves who couldn't understand for the life of me why she was sitting on the bench, especially when Brink went out. It was no excuse for her and Rakia to be sitting the bench as much as they did, and Rakia made the best of her situation for the limited minutes she did. I mean, 13 points and almost 4 rebounds a night from a wing who, like I said, wasn't even getting significant playing time. But Lynn Roberts is the coach now. Definitely going to be on one of the new coaches in the league. It's going to be on display. But it's going to be real interesting to see with the Sparks. And like I said, we're a fan favorite. I know that's a Willie team, but I like Kelsey Plum. I think they're leaning heavy on Plum and Sims to see what they get out of both of them. I think that's why I actually think to a degree, Bordy, in one breath, it's like, yeah, get some backcourt help, but in the other, it's kind of relieve Odyssey that, hey, I don't have nobody look. I ain't got to look over my shoulder at least in the first part of the season. So, yeah.
Look over her shoulder here. They just tripping.
Right.
They just tripping. I don't know what the deal was. But go ahead, OG.
Yeah. Just moving along, man. Getting to my favorite pick of the first round. I'm not gonna skip past Sifka. She was selected 9th or 10th for the Chicago Sky. Another perimeter player that can do it all. Real quick release. Like I say, it's not saying that it's carbon copy, but most of your foreign European players, they have similar skill sets. When you talk about wings, I don't really say inside because everybody overseas learn. Hey, they all dribble, pass, shoot. Like they do all facets of the game. But I didn't know which direction they were going to go. But definitely, with the roster that they have, somebody, like I say, shooting is something that you need. Can't get away from it. You got to have it. And especially with the inside players that they have, I think it's pivotal for the Sky to be able to shoot the ball. I'm real intrigued to see what will be the development from Angel Reese. We see the workout tapes. We see, a lot of different things like that. But her game has to evolve. I love the motor, love the energy, and everything like that. But that will not sustain as the league keeps advancing and getting more talented and skilled players. But Angel Reese is she can't teach size, can't teach heart and effort, and that's something that she has. But now you look at the veteran pickups with Ariel Atkins, who I love too. Another scorer. Get a nice almost 15 points a game last season, but she can score from the outside. A healthy Rebecca Allen will do them wonders. Because she's one of my favorite two-way players. I got the chance to see her a lot when I was in New York when she played for the Liberty. Then you got Kia Nurse, who I think is going to be valuable for the young players on this team. especially the perimeter players. But like Michaela Oyenwuri, Rookie of the Year, not too long ago for the Liberty. I'm really high on her because she has a phenomenal skill set when she gets a lot of playing time. The more she plays, the better she gets. And of course, you got Killer. Cardoso, I think, is going to have a more intriguing season coming up because she missed a lot in the beginning last year, and she did some great things overseas and playing. And I want to see her development. And really, that's my thing with the Sky, seeing how Marsh is going to utilize Reese and Cardoso. Like it looked good drafting them, but it looked ugly a lot of times in the half court with both of them on the court at the same time and not really having any type of direction. But yeah, that's my spiel for that pick. I'm gonna save. I'm giving Haley her shine by herself. But how did y'all like the 10th pick for the Chicago Sky?
Like Svika, because you couldn't get Maddie Westbeld, right? They ended up trading down and trading out of that. And I don't like the fact that they don't have the 26th pick anymore, especially for a development team and knowing how deep the 26th draft is. But you still at least get a good 3-and-D player that's going to be a very good contributor. Svika is very long, like super long, dude. Like some of her being a monster in the passing lanes is something I really picked up on when I saw her tape. So in addition to the fact that she can shoot lights out and she can kind of put the ball on the floor and go on the inside, but you know that she wants to be a shooter. And Tyler Marsh, if you look at all these picks, right? Haley Van Lith, Maddie Westbeld, right? They also picked up Tilly Bowler and Sammy Puisis, who are also two very good shooters, 4 very good shooters as well. Shout out to Tilly Bowler, Jackson State, went to Memphis, played lights out. She was doing well. And Puisis also from South Florida, a shooter. Probably not going to make the team, but I do have to shout them out as well because those are very good training camp pickups. But shooting is the name of the game that they really realized that they missed out on, and that's what Tyler Marsh is very good at developing. So I'm very interested to see how he does with Angel and obviously Camilla, who do need to work on their outside game. But to have somebody like Svika who can play the 3-and-D, that's great. Haley Van Lith, again, this is another one where I thought that maybe Cheyenne Sellers might go there, and I think that they're banking on Haley Van Lith really hankering on her year with Mark Campbell at TCU, and how people said that is it the system that really helped her, or did she really develop? She actually developed in her read and react, in passing the ball, not taking forced layups, really was an effective passer. I want to see how it develops into this new the WNBA without having the systems and the plays that Mark has. But at least she's playing with a big that she's familiar with, and she's also playing with another 6'7" big in Camila Cardoso. So things are feeling quite familiar for her, right? So that's very good. If she can get back into her Louisville shooting bag, like you talked about, OG, where she was lights out at Louisville, good things are happening. Maddie Westfeld, man, I was counting the spots. This is where we need a roster expansion because I was counting the available spots, and it's a question mark whether or not Maddie Westfeld can make it. And I think they really would benefit from her ability to step out on the outside and to also rebound as well. That's one thing that Camilla and also Angel Reese are developing. So to have somebody that can step on the outside is good. But there's so few spots. I'm not sure if she will make it. I really hope that she does because Maddie is my girl. I love her, and I feel like
Westbell, yes.
man. And last year, unfortunately, she was coming off injury, so she didn't look. She was trying to fit back in the system. She didn't look like her true self that she was a year ago. I hope she can make it into this roster because I feel like she really adds some dimension to this team to make them a very fun offense. But it should be fun going into this one for the Sky.
Yeah, hey, really, real quick, your thoughts on
I just say with Sifka, I think it's good for her. If you are, 6'2", 6'3", I think she's like 6'3", 6'4", somewhere around there.
6'4".
Yeah, when you are that big, and a lot of times, there's a tendency to, especially if you don't have certain things in your roster, there's a tendency to pigeonhole the player and ask them to do things that otherwise they're not comfortable doing or they don't want to do. Her going to Chicago, she can literally concentrate on which, if she comes over this year or whenever she comes over with Angel Reese and Killa on the roster, she literally can concentrate on what she does well.
Mhm.
Because they won't have to ask her to, okay, we need you to go in there. We got to get 10 rebounds from you, 2 blocks, and you got to anchor the paint, anchor our defense. They're not asking her to do that. Those aren't her strong points. So a lot of times when you are a first round pick, sometimes you go to a team that, especially again when we're talking about need, you go to a team that may be devoid of the skill set that you have. They may be devoid of height, especially for a big, and they start asking you to do stuff that otherwise you're not accustomed to do. So the fact that she can go in and do exactly what she's comfortable doing, I think really eases her transition to the W. So I think it's a good pick. So I'm really curious to see what's going on in Chicago too, because even with their guards, like they have experienced guards. So at some point, you got to find your young guard to hang your hat on to go with those young bigs that they have. So yeah, I'm excited. And like I said, you don't ask a player to come in and start doing things that either they're uncomfortable doing or not accustomed to doing.
Yeah, I mean the roster situation is always going to be something interesting. I mean, me personally, real quick before we move, we just gonna give a little quick thoughts about the second and third round picks. But the Haley Van Lith pick was special for me because first of all I'm a big fan, and I'm a sucker for the feel good stories, man, and the comeback stories, and she's definitely been that. And I remember a lot of times before the Olympics, people talking about is she gonna get drafted in the WNBA? Is she gonna make the WNBA? They all those talks and stuff and basically she was kind of getting a lot of backlash for even playing in the Olympics because considering her resume and different things like that. But then to see her make the move, go to TCU, had a great season, saw her in a different light, and it paid off. And I think, when you've been through as much as she has, I'm just talking on the court, just that experience. That's going to be enough to lean on when the times get tough in the W. Now the advantage with her, having somebody like Courtney Vandersloot, Kier Nurse, a lot of these veteran guards, especially I think the whole Vandersloot coming back to Chicago, one is to retire Chicago Sky, and then now is to pass the torch. Do I think Haley Van Lith has the ability to thrive in the league? I do, because she's going to be out there with 4 other players that you have to pay attention to. That's how I look at the pros. A lot of people don't think about that. Like when you're in the pros, like people have to guard everybody different. Like and a lot of times it allows certain players who couldn't thrive as much in college because of course the rules are different to a degree. But like for her, she can go one-on-one. She can create her own shot. And I think when you gotta pay attention to other players, that makes her even more effective. And then Haley can play off the ball. Like she doesn't have to be a true one if that's not what they need, in certain times of the games or specific situations. And she even mentioned, playing with Angel Reese was a highlight for her because Angel Reese, I mean, of course she gets vilified for a lot of different reasons. I ain't even about to go into that, but we all know how people are viewed publicly versus when you're in the locker room with them, or you in practice with them, or even as a coach, when you coaching them every day, you see things from them, that person that nobody else sees, unless they in the room. And obviously, you haven't heard anybody of substance down talk being a teammate of Angel Reese. That's all angry birds in the comments and everything like that on social media and stuff. But you have not heard anybody of substance say, man, like it was such a bad experience or anything. Now, if it was that bad, I'm sure you would have heard something by now. Like people would have said something. Like,
if anything, it's the opposite. They're effusive about how much of a motivator, supporter, how
but
she helps the team.
You can tell. You can tell. I mean, I'm so I'm so tired of in our country. 1 minute y'all want everybody to be cookie cutter, and then the next minute when they not, when they being something else different, you got something to say too. Like, be yourself. They say be yourself. Then when you be yourself, not like that. Now we didn't mean that. Like,
you can be edgy, but not too edgy. Okay, that's way too egregious.
I always say it stems from the biggest word in our country is control. Everybody want to control everything or something. Like, and the easiest thing is to try to control people. Like, and I don't understand. I don't want to watch a game where everybody is the same, where everybody's demeanor is the same, everybody's emotional energy is the same. Like, it's only one Angel Reese. Like that, it's only one. Like, nobody mirrors her. Like, so I don't know. Like I said, I get tired of it. Like, I let people be people just because they. And I'm not saying I agree with everything that she does or says or anything like that. But I'm not somebody who sits up on a pedestal and judge. Especially, most of the people that are criticizing these players in the WNBA are old enough to be their damn grandpas and fathers, and that's the scary. That's the scary part about it to me, is because y'all talk about these women like you don't have a daughter, or like you don't have nieces, or like you don't like you don't have no women in your family. They talk about these women bad, and to me personally, sound like a simper. Not, I don't give a damn, but how could a woman be with a man who sits up all day on the internet and talk about women all day? Like,
incel type behavior. Incel type behavior, for real.
Because if he's sitting up talking about and trashing these women outside of the sport, what he saying about your ass when you ain't around? Like, so it's just, I'm so sick of that. But anyway, to get back on track. Haley Van Lith, I think she's gonna be great. Ariel Atkins is gonna help her out a ton. Another vet been in the league 7 years, who's another player who's kind of similar, because Ariel Atkins has been forced in certain situations to be a lead guard, but she's not a lead guard. I like her off the ball and putting her in scoring situations, but I just think it's going to be a lot of security around her to succeed. And anxious to see what happens with Elizabeth Williams. Got hurt early in the season. She was hurt last season, and I kind of felt like that kind of helped their front court situation, because they were front court heavy, and that kind of decreased minutes and playing times. It kind of helped the decision making in that. But yeah, I think the Sky going to be interesting. They open up against the Fever in the first game, so that's going to be something obviously to look out for. But just real quick, second and third round, not going to get through everybody. I'm going to highlight some picks for me. Of course, Bree Hall going to the Fever. She's going to have to fight for a spot. But I'm proud of her. Dayton, Ohio native like myself. Got a chance to see her a lot in high school, definitely in college, but I was happy for her and her family. Sanaya Fagan is another one with the Sparks. I think Willy had kind of touched on that earlier. I think that's a good spot for her. Lucy Olsen going to the Mystics. I think she can be in a great spot for how she plays. It's definitely something that they need. I mean, everybody needs a scorer. So I think she's going to be in a good spot with them. But Rhea Marshall, I think that's a good spot for her in Connecticut. They always talk about second and third rounds being good fits. Michaela Timpson with the Fever, I think she has a great shot. That's something that they need. Tahina Pau went to the Dream. I think that's going to be a good fit for her. They definitely need a lot. They need to figure out some things in Atlanta. I remember me and Willy talking about how they want to play, because a lot of players they were picking up in the offseason was, half court like style players. So it's like, do they even plan on getting out in transition? But I'm looking to see Power get back to her old ways, shooting the ball, knocking down perimeter shot. I think they need that perimeter scoring. Of course, Cheyenne Sellers, y'all talked about her going to the Valkyries, I think is a great pickup for them. I wonder if health concerns or anything like that was, possibly the reason why some teams back off. I love her. Big guard, can do it all. Has great potential.
Hold up. There's only one big guard, man.
Oh, well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying.
It's the only big guard.
Slightly less than big guard. How about that?
Y'all gotta stop saying that now. I'm joking.
Nah, I know what you're saying, but no, I'm saying nice,
Love you.
a nice size guard that can do it all. Madison Scott is another one I feel like gonna put up a good fight for a spot. Gritty, rebound the ball great. It's gonna be a battle. Third round. This probably is the best third round in WNBA history.
Yo, like I feel like more thirds can make than two, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, Serena Sundell to the Storm. Bordy, you talked about that earlier. I think is great. Another do-it-all, nice size guard, can shoot the ball. JJ Quinterly from West Virginia. I think she's in a tough spot. Yeah. Getting drafted by the Wings, but we'll see how it plays out. I look at her as Fair that got drafted last year. The size, a lot of times it's going to be tough, man. Because in the W, you got 6'4" players that can do what 5'9" players do.
And her special thing is defense, which I mean, there are a lot of defenders in that guard spot for Dallas, unfortunately.
Now, Leah King from Notre Dame, I feel like, hey, with the Sparks, I love.
Say who drafted her. Say who drafted her.
Say who drafted. What do you mean?
Yes. Who drafted Leah King?
The Sparks?
Thank you.
Sparks.
Okay. Oh yeah, you had. Hey, I'm like, I'm thinking it's just something else I didn't know.
He was like, help them at gunpoint.
Hey, red pill, blue pill. Like, hey,
What did I say?
but she was one of the most stable players for Notre Dame when a lot of things wasn't going right. Her and Citron always was steady. She can shoot the ball. She has a nice mid-range jump shot. Real active. Almost average a double-double, which that kind of flew under the radar. But real active player, could have been more if she was heavily involved. She done a lot of that, being a third and fourth wheel. Like, so I think her game is built for the W. We'll see how that goes. Madison Connor to the Storm. Caitlin Chen was this year's Kate Martin. That kind of caught me off guard. Not that I was surprised that Kate Martin got drafted, because I love her game. But it was just like you wasn't expecting. It was just like, so I'm just at the draft supporting Paige and then boom, you get drafted. Aranette Vonleh to the Dallas Wings. She gonna give some people a run for her money. Tough spot though. Yeah. Jordan Hobbs, another Dayton, Ohio native, played at Springboro High School. She got drafted by the Seattle Storm. Harmony Turner, I was glad for. I don't know how this is going to play out or anything like that, but I was just excited she got her name called from Harvard. Aubrey Griffin was another surprise, but I mean, but going to the Lynx, and I will say, Cheryl Reeves is one of my favorite WNBA coaches. Like, I feel like no matter who she puts on her roster, she gets the max out of them. Like, I mean, it could be a player who played at a team prior that only averaged, probably 6 points and 2 rebounds, and they come play for her, and it ups times 2 or 3. Like, I just think she's that type of coach. I mean, not liked by everyone, but. And I know this from when I post during the season, people give their thoughts and feelings about what they think about Cheryl Reeves. But
Or
you
even
know,
Ariel Powers.
but yeah, the great ones are not often liked by everyone. So hey, it is what it is. But she has the ability to get that out of people. And you know, another shout out to Maddie Westbeld. I wanted to say personally, her sister Catherine Westbeld, who played at Notre Dame as well. Her daughter, her and my daughter played together when they were younger, and I got to know the Westbelds really well. It was a great family, great group of people. Maddie it was destined. You can tell early how good she was going to be, and she went on to have a phenomenal high school career. And now I'm hoping, you know, I hope all the players from the 937, you know, find a roster spot somehow, some way. But that pretty much wraps up our draft recap. Any thing you want to get off your chest, Willie?
No, I think I just really want to see these players do well and go ahead and really go ahead and make their mark, their respective marks in the league. One of the things I was gonna say, you touched on it, was people getting in their feelings about people getting in the transfer portal and doing what's best for them. Because one of the things, it just bothers me when people always talk about, in our world, you all know this, we work in sports, we've been athletes, the L word gets passed around a whole lot. Too much. Loyalty. Loyalty. Everybody's like, are you loyal? It's all about loyalty. No, what we're finding out is loyalty is doled out when it's convenient for others, while they expect you to be loyal to them unconditionally.
Come on,
Right.
preaching.
That part really bothers me because when you look at these transfers, right? You look at them. When you look at them and you look at their respective recruiting profiles on whether it was hoop girls or whatever, you're talking about a bunch of women that were top 25, top 30 recruits, and you're seeing their stats: top 30 recruit, averaging 1 point a game; top 30 recruit, averaging 4 points a game. That means that they're not getting opportunity. And it's easy for everybody to look and say, you know what? Yeah, they're not doing it because they're not good enough. No, Sanaya Rivers and others have shown it is about getting your opportunity as well. So when you're one of those top 20, top 30 players in the country, you are trending toward going to the WNBA. And going to the wrong school can literally knock you off your path.
Yep.
So stay off of people for doing what's best for them. I'm tired of y'all talking about this because when you on your job and somebody comes and offers you more money, or when you on your job and you pissed off with your boss, the first thing you start doing is looking for another job. So leave these women alone. Let them go be great. That's what I want to get off my chest.
And Bordy, so we Bordy's bookmarks, because Bordy always comes in the chat with the most interesting things that me and A. Willie don't bring to the table a lot of the time. So I just give you this time, Bordy. You got anything in the cellar that you want to let out?
You talked a little bit about like everybody. Unfortunately, these second round picks, a lot of them, I'm looking at all the South Carolina girls: Bree Hall, Tahina Pow Pow, Sanaya Fagan, Aaliyah Nye, even Madison Scott is another player, right? That we look at. They're really good players that deserve an opportunity to shine, but unfortunately, because rosters are so small, Maddie Westwell's another one. I don't know how much of an opportunity they'll have. So roster expansion it needs to happen sooner rather than later. I know the CBA is coming up. We need more than 12 spots, especially when it comes to the development of a lot of these players. The we talk about the transfer portal being the club. Club W was already packed, okay? Like everybody's sweating, leaning on each other, like we against the wall, can't breathe, right? So we need a little bit more space. That's right. Ask Odyssey Sims, who hopefully she can stay past training camp. Like you said, she ain't got nobody to look under her shoulder with. But I hope they make it. People like Leah Two King, I would have thought for sure, or Sanaya Fagan. I think that they are personally better than somebody like Rhea Marshall in terms of like what they do on the court. But I feel like Rhea, just through serendipity and just going to the Connecticut Sun, like she has a better opportunity to make it because there are a lot of forwards on that Sparks team, right? So it's just happenstance in a lot of these a lot of these drafts, and I feel like we're gonna look at this draft as being bad when there are a lot of great players. Serena Sundell, to get her at the third spot, at the third round, is ridiculous, right? JJ Quinn is another player where like she's very good defensively. Zay Green could probably end up making the Mystics, and she's a third round pick. Think about all the other undrafted players too. You have Deja Kelly, you have somebody like Maria Gottdang, you have somebody like Alyssa Utsby, Diamond Johnson also too. There are so many talented players in the second round, the undrafted second, third round. Taylor Theory is another player. You know, Atlanta, they have a whole bunch of fours, but they don't have a real wing. So we'll see if she can probably make on the roster. But there are so many talented players, and we keep on every draft class. We're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If you think this draft class is deep, next year it gets even deeper. And unfortunately, a lot of those players might not make it depending on when that CBA kicks in and, you know, the opportunities to open up. So I'm looking forward to the CBA, better resources, better resources, better money, but most importantly, more draft spots and roster opportunities as well, and hopefully some rookie protections as well, because we're getting to the point to where the talent is so good and there are so many vets who are still trying to play as well, and that comes in a clash in odds. And as the game grows, the rosters and the spots available needs to grow as well. So I'm looking forward to that expansion because we're at that critical point to where we really need it.
No, I agree, and I think a few of those players you mentioned, they have signed training camp contract. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I didn't really want to get into the snubs or anything like that because you can pretty much go all day when we talk about it. I just wanted to celebrate the players who got drafted, and we don't even rush to even talk about who's going to be what next year. Like I like to see the players that get drafted, see what they do in their career, and then we get back into the flow of college basketball and we do it all over again. But you know, as for me, in my last words, is I wanted to do this show specifically on the 16th because we are officially a month away from the WNBA starting, and it's that time of the year where you're going to hear the same old dumb shit all the time. WNBA is losing all this amount of money. Man, thug ball, anything you name to put a negative light on the WNBA, they're going to do it. And I always like to just wonder, like, why do people spend so much time talking about something that they don't like? And me personally, the WNBA is not for everyone, but for the people who do appreciate it, we appreciate it. And it's simple as that. I'm gonna be cool during the season, posting and recapping, and we'll be still doing our show and everything like that. Keep it hoop, man. We don't know these players personally. We don't know who they are, how they are. Some of your favorite players that you like might be a fucking asshole when they're not in front of the camera. They're not in front of the lights. You don't know. But I'm excited about the season starting. Definitely can't wait for us to be recapping these games, talking about some of these players that we just mentioned in this episode. But I really like in some of the direction of where the WNBA is going. Of course, growth takes time. Luckily, I've been around to watch all 26 years this coming up. But 26, 27 years the league's been around. Well, 26. I think this is 26th season that we're going into, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm off. 28. Yeah, 28th. I'm out. Yeah, I'm off. 97. Yeah, I'm old. Forgive me. Hey, but but no, just let's just enjoy this season, man, and keep trolling it up as usual. And like I always say, I'm here to laugh, show love, promote, talk sports, movies, joke, and troll. Catch us on the next episode.